Hello, my name is Jeff Semenso, and I would like to answer a few questions that people have.
Hi Jeff. With so many kinds of generators to choose from, how do I know what kind to get? And tell me about the different kinds of fuels.
Well, that's a good question. What kind of generator? I would suggest diesel. Most of the generators out there are diesel powered. However, your smaller generators that like a contractor would use to frame up a shed or something would be gasoline powered. And some of the reasons are if fuel is stored, diesel is the way to go because you can store it much longer than other fuels. And it's not as combustible. It's nowhere near like gasoline. Gasoline is really dangerous, especially if you're storing it in tanks, which that has to be carefully done. So diesel is a lot more user-friendly.
What is so great about diesel?
Well, I have customers that are concerned about maybe not being able to find it. Well, when the cities use it, schools, railroads, county, state, military, there's a lot of it. So if you were going to have to trade or find it, diesel fuel is a lot easier to find, especially if power is out. If the power is out, your gas stations aren't going to be pumping. So you're more likely to find stored diesel in tanks than gasoline.
What if I want to make my own fuel? I've heard that there are complications with biofuels.
Well, biofuels can be made. In fact, you can go on the internet, download how to. Only takes a couple chemicals other than an oil, fat, French fry oil, any number of oils you can use. The problem with biodiesel, now diesel generators, the newest ones have computers, and you have to be careful, and they run at a higher PSI, the pump. And it is not welcoming biodiesels. Now you can use a percentage of biodiesel, but straight biodiesel, you need a non-computerized, which the generator that we sell, the Perkins, which is owned now by Caterpillar, is the ideal generator for that purpose. There's another issue, and that is your rubber lines and hoses, seals, O-rings. Biodiesel, you would think because it's made from something like food, a food product, that it would be actually less toxic, but on the other hand, it is actually very hard on rubbers. So we use the right plastic lines or copper lines to deliver the fuel, and we use the right kind of generator that can handle the biofuel.
I heard that propane is good.
Well, propane definitely has its advantages. Let's say you just live in a rural area and you might live in a place where you have power outages 2 or 3 times a year, and you happen to have a side of beef in your freezers. You don't want to lose those. So if you're already getting propane there on your property, and you have a concern for power outages just a few times a year for a few days at a time, propane is the way to go. You don't have to fuss with it. You have a service that delivers it. It doesn't quite as perform. It's about 20 to 25% less efficient as a diesel. It just doesn't burn as hot. The BTUs aren't quite the same. And same thing with altitude. That affects it another percentage or two. If you're already getting the service and you're not thinking about doomsday, if you're a doomsday, well, as in, you plan on getting a generator for much longer periods of time, do not go with that, and I can talk about that here.
Okay, how do I know what size of generator I need?
Well, let's say your typical house and all your appliances is wired up for about 200 amps, and that is based on all your appliances running at the same time. Every wall socket, every appliance on full blast, they have designed the system to where it would not fail. But nobody runs their home that way. Everybody just runs one or two things at a time, and that's typically the way it's done. So you would find the largest appliance that you have and buy a generator that can handle that. So you wouldn't size it exact match the wattage. You would go with something about 25% bigger. So if you need 6,000 watts, you would go like a 10,000 watt. The price of the generator from those two is very minimal, so it's really not that much.
What if I already own a generator?
Well, if you own a generator, then we can, let's say you have a little diesel or a little gasoline powered generator that you got at Home Depot. We can utilize that if you'd like to use it. And if you've seen on our website here that we have cart systems. You take the cart, park it right alongside the generator. While the generator is running and giving you your needs there in the house, it's filling up the batteries. So when you turn your generator off, you have power. So your refrigerator will cycle a third of an hour, 24 hours a day. So that's 8 hours in a 24-hour period. Well, if you're running that little generator just an hour and a half in the morning to get off to work, heat up some hot water, and what have you, and then in the evening another hour and a half or 2 hours, so that's 3 hours of runtime. Well, that will put 5 hours of runtime in your batteries. So between the 3 plus the 5, that gives you 8 hours, which is the very cycle you need to run your refrigerator. So that's a benefit that we can get out of your existing generator. However, your gas-powered units don't last as long. Now, I have a diesel generator, single cylinder, if you want to save money, that would last forever. You know, they're going to last 5 times longer than your gasoline-powered one. They're designed to run 24 hours a day. Where your best Honda generator, if you had to run it every day, day in, day out, you'll probably get 3 months out of it, 90 days. So if you want a generator that can do that for 2 years, the generator I have is warranted to not fail you in 2 years. Not to mention how much longer it'll last beyond that. Just like a semi-truck, you can get 1,000,000 miles out of a semi-truck. Your gas-powered vehicles, what do you get, 200,000 at best? Because diesel acts as a lubricant, where gasoline is like a solvent. If you guys cleaned any parts around your shop, gasoline cuts it really well. Now diesel does too, and it's not as nasty as the gasoline, but gas cuts it faster, and we all know that. So those are some things to think about, the difference in the two fuels. Same thing with natural gas. If you're already getting natural gas, a natural gas generator is fine. However, if the power is out everywhere, there are pumps required to pump you the natural gas. And so if power is out for a week in your city, there's no pumps going to be running. Generators will be stopped because they're not anticipating that long. You know, they have emergency programs in place, but not for long periods of time.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, you're welcome.